Hello beautiful people and welcome back to the channel. So some of you actually asked me to make a special video to show you Dosar's way. To show you his setup when it comes down to Navy, to planes, to tanks, and we should go a bit deeper into that. And of course I went to him and he's such a beautiful person. Of course he accepted and a huge shout out goes out to him and a special thank you very much for allowing us to do this. But before we actually gonna go into the battery ports, allow me to make two remarks right here. The first remark is, please do not envy or don't be jealous to see such an account, and you should approach this episode from a different perspective. Now, if you ever watch this series on Disney Plus called What If, you see there that series has 9 episodes. Yeah, because you're actually watching the 10th episode right now at this moment. Just imagine for a second you would have such an account. It's absolutely beautiful. And of course, the second important remark I have to make before we go into the analysis is you're gonna see some extremely high stats in these battery ports. You can take these stats and multiply them with 9 or maybe with 10 and you kinda gonna get a roughly value of his character, of his person, the way he is, which is absolutely even more amazing. So now let's jump into that. So there was of course no point for me to attack him with suppress. There's absolutely no reason. I'm attacking a god right here and I'm even smaller than David actually in this battle. So let's have a look. Of course his march size is absolutely amazing, extremely high. So let's go into the attributes first of all and see what he has. So he has a Gypsy level 8, he has a Chingy level 8 and he has Brunhild level 8. Then we look at his damage increase for the tanks. So we see 10-10. And of course, we look at the damage decrease, 999. And of course, we can have a quick look at his march size, the skills. So there they are. Yeah, that looks pretty crazy. Now let's jump into the gear. Now the first thing I would like to mention here, yes indeed, I played a little bit with the gear and that's exactly what you see on my Gypsy. So I kind of succeed to get 4 of these items to level 20. The rest is simply just a work in progress. So let's have a look what he has. So on Gypsy, he has a vulnerable, which is great, and Gypsy actually needs it. Then we have a 40% damage increase. This can be put on any hero, doesn't matter. Then we have a vulnerable effect, which again benefits Gypsy. It also benefits, for example, Megatron. Megatron sadly is no longer such a great hero, but of course it's also benefiting, for example, Crimson, which has a chance to apply a vulnerable. So we also have another vulnerable. Now this won't affect Shinji right here, but of course I do assume as of right now she is also in a process of sorting this stuff out. So we have another vulnerable here. We have a damage decrease, which can be applied anywhere. So we have a magnetic pulse on Brunhild, and we have another magnetic pulse on Brunhild. Now let's have a look at the heavy trooper. So first of all, we're gonna start actually with the middle chip. This is what he has chosen. Then we're gonna go actually on the stats. Now feel free to pause this video right now to have a closer look at the difference in the stats between our two heavy troopers. But of course, we're gonna have a quick look at his chips. So we had a 5.8 attack speed, we had a 672, and we have a 571 attack speed, which is absolutely, yeah, super great. Of course, we have to have a look at the chips on slot 4, 5, and 6. And as you can see right here, these chips don't have this elemental stat, which is absolutely the worst thing in game. I can give you an example. Here you go. I do have that. Now, the next few things will gonna shock you. Because here we go, beautiful people, I am on par with him and I'm coming in very hard. Of course, I'm also on par with him when it comes down to the components, which is fantastic. And of course, the suppression. So yeah, joke to side, of course, we have to jump to the elemental damage. This is absolutely the maximum value. Of course, not quite worth it actually, because it only helps you in PvE normally. And now let's have a look at the formation. So he has a shark formation level 10, which is absolutely amazing. And if we look at the formation tech, that's also maxed out. Now, of course, we can also have a look which slots he actually buffed, and he actually buffed all 5 slots to level 5, which is crazy. Now let's have a look at the stats right here. So we see 5,419 HP on army and 5,177 attack, which is absolutely crazy. You see army damage, which is almost double of my army damage, which is, yes, beyond any words. And if we click a second, let's have a look. So yes, we see the masteries, which are maxed out. We also see the decoration. We also see, of course, from the heavy trooper, something is coming. We also see the morale. And of course, his equipment is absolutely super high. Now, of course, this applies when it comes down to the attack too. Again, if we scroll down and you see the equipment difference, 1,212, that's absolutely super crazy. We do have to have a look at the DEF, which is a very important stat actually in TOPWAR. So we see the DEF of army being 48.9, mine is just 9.7. And of course the DEF for all units, his is 70.5 and mine is 57.1. So what we're gonna do now, we're just gonna play briefly because we want to see exactly where he is positioning his heavy trooper. And we see here a very conservative approach. He is placing his heavy trooper on slot number 5. Of course, the battle is very short. We can click on this one and you can have a look what happens when you attack a god. And thank goodness he agreed for me to do so. So nothing bad presumably is gonna happen to me. Anyways, that was the tanks versus tanks. Now let's have a look at the planes versus planes. Now this here is going to be very, very painful. Again, we see a very huge march size in there. Let's have a look at the attributes. So we are looking at Bradley level 8, Striker level 8 and Asuka level 8. Of course, we're going to have a look at the damage increase. And we also gonna have a look at the damage decrease. Let's have a look at the gear. Now, first of all, I'm just gonna press the E here and see the comparison. Feel free to pause the video right now to have a closer look, but we're gonna go, of course, through the special effects. So on this cannon here, on the pistol, he has a 20% damage increase, can be put on any hero, doesn't matter. Then we have, of course, the magnetic field. Of course, this special effect has to be sorted somewhere else because Striker cannot make use of it. And we see on the gloves a vulnerable buff. Again, it's absolutely super, super nice. And we see on Asuka a magnetic pulse on top. And we also see on the pistol, we see a 10% damage increase. That's super crazy. So he's using the new heavy trooper on the planes. Now let's have a fast look at the general stats difference on our setup when it comes down to the heavy trooper chips. Of course, again, you can pause the video. Let's carry on and go and see every chip. And let's actually start with the middle one. So we see a DF for all units and we see a all damage increase. Now he goes with this blade set. Yeah, of course, he's great. And especially with these stats, he pretty much can use anything right now. So we see a 6.8 attack speed. Here we see a 6% and here we see a 5.36. Of course, we have to look at the other chips also. So it looks absolutely amazing. Again, we're gonna skip this part in which I can show off and say, yes, I am on par with him. And we also gonna skip actually the formation right here because we already discussed that. And that's why we skip directly to the stats. And here are the stats right here. Of course, it's absolutely mind-blowing, amazing, absolutely amazing. And let's also have a look at the DEF. So we have increased DEF of Air Force being only 10.8, mine is 25.6. And of course, DEF of all units, his is 93.9%, which is absolutely, yeah, unbelievable. So this is pretty much the Air Force versus Air Force. Now, what you see here also is took him only one round to clarify the situation. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Now let's go and see Navy versus Navy. Now this is of course my weakest march because I only have level 5 exclusive skills on all my Navy heroes. Now let's have a look at his setup. So again, we see the march size. We see him using the blue boy there as a heavy trooper. And let's jump in and we see Stromoy with a level 8. We see a level 8 on Crimson and we see a level 8 on Lila. Of course, we want to have a look very fast at the damage increase and also at the damage decrease, which is absolutely amazing. Now let's have a look at the gear. Of course, as always, pause the video if you want to see this a bit longer, and let's go through all these special effects. So we see on Stromoy a 10% damage decrease, which of course it's gonna work, it's universal. Another 10% right there. Then we see on Crimson here 10% damage increase, which will gonna work. We see a debilitation effect on Crimson, and this will work indeed, because if we go have a look here, Crimson will hit much more stronger the more abnormal effects he has on a target. So from this perspective, if we go back to this one here, debilitation is considered to be also an abnormal effect. So what else have we missed? So we have another debilitation actually also on the gloves. So let's go to Lila. Now we have here another debilitation on Lila. We have on the pistol a 15% ignition. Now this won't apply to Lila. It's typical a case of has to be sorted at one point. And of course another debilitation, and we see another debilitation. This is absolutely crazy, yeah? So imagine Crimson we're gonna hit extremely hard. Now let's have a look at the chips. Of course, as always, here is the preview, the difference between my setup and his setup. And let's have a look at all the chips. Of course, a 4.5 I-fire rate. We see here 10.8 attack speed. And we see also here 10.8 attack speed. Let's have a look at the middle one. So we have a DEF for all units and a damage increase. And let's have a look at 4, 5, and 6. And we see, yeah, pretty awesome stats and not a single universal stuff. And we see me here having a mix. And there's no point to show it to you guys because that's exactly what it is. It's just a mix, yeah. Now let's go into the stats again. We skip the formation and we go look for the Navy. And these are the stats difference. So 5.4 HP, 5,000% attack, a huge damage increase, and also very huge damage decrease. Let's have a look at the total DEF. So don't confuse this, by the way, with DEF of the heroes. That's something different. So DEF of his Navy is 21.2. Mine is just 14.9. And of course, DEF of all units, dear brother, 104%. Oh my God. Yeah, so let's have a look. Of course, the formation gives him a 5% extra. Of course, the heavy trooper from the chips. The decorations are also there. And yeah, that's kind of pretty much it. Anyways, beautiful people. Again, a huge shout out and a huge thank you very much to Mr. Dosar for allowing me to share this information with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to support a great channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, please, guys. It's super important. And of course, as always, don't forget to see me in the next episode. And again, happy Halloween, everybody.